Hi. So after if a lot of you follow the channel, that you'd sort of see I've written all these GameScope script to get GameScope working in as its own microcompositor in Omarchy. So you can sort of launch it with Super Shift S. He launches into GameScope, just like deck mode. Like and Catchy's got a deck mode, and I think Bazat's got a deck mode. So I did the scripts, and I did the desktop versions, and I even got Intel Arc working. But then obviously some of the people with laptops started to try and use the script, and they started to have all sorts of issues. And I thought, what's going on there then? And then, a lot of the members are saying we couldn't get it working on laptops, and so I thought, this is what's different, what's causing the issue. So I thought, well, if I'm going to sort of test these things, I better do it properly. I mean, I'm putting these things out, people are using them. So I bought a gaming laptop, which is this thing. I got it super cheap. It's not the highest spec machine in the history of computers. It's a Nitro 14 with a 3050 RTX card in it. It's a gaming laptop, basically. And I just thought to myself, I suppose a lot of people out there got this kind of a scenario. They've got a gaming laptop and they plug it in, the students or whatever. You've got a gaming laptop, you've got it on your desktop, you plug it in, you play games on the big screen, or you play games on that. And not as many people have desktops, I suppose. I mean, to me, I've always had desktops playing around and a laptop. I mean, but coming over from a Mac to a Omarchy and then onto PC laptops are, like, as I've discovered with my coding, immensely complicated. Where with a Mac, you just plug things in and they will work. So yeah, so I've got the script working really well actually on laptops, and what I'll do, I'll sort of we'll install it in the 2D. We'll talk about this in a minute. We'll go through the modes of laptops first of all. That's the important part. Then we'll install it, and you can see it. So, but first of all, we're going to have a look at laptops, the sort of how they work as gaming laptops, how you do gaming on them. So yeah, so with that preamble sort of out the way there, let's start it. Okay, so here we are. We're in Omarchy, and this is on the laptop. This is on the Nitro 14 thing. So let's just show you the specs. So let's bring that up, do fast fetch. And it is a Nitro ANV14 Ryzen 7, and with a Radeon integrated chip, high GPU. It has a NVIDIA RTX 3050 with 6GB of RAM. And it's currently connected to the laptop panel, which is capable of 120 Hz, and the 4K display, which is only capable of 60. So that's the setup. All right, so let's get rid of that. And let's go over to my diagram. I may have to move myself around here. Okay, so laptops, PC laptops have various ways that they connect the GPU to the displays, and most of them today have two GPUs. So let's look through the ways that they've done it. Now, old school method, which is very popular and is a mixture on a lot of these laptops, is a thing called Optimus. And the word prime is involved, but it's nothing to do with transformers. So what Optimus does, Optimus passes the output for the GPU through the iGPU and up to the display. So basically it renders here, it's passed through that, goes on the display. So if you can imagine, when you're not doing a heavy intensive task on your RTX card, that thing sits there and does nothing, and you just use the weak iGPU to do your day-to-day tasks, and so that conserves battery power. So I've sort of written it here. It's like auto switching software, no adds latency, no G-Sync, best battery. Now there are ways that you can get, I think with Steam you can do a thing called prime offload, or where you can offload the rendering and get it to pass through the iGPU, so you can stay in that mode and it's like on demand and you can do it. And talking about Optimus is, well, actually we'll do MUXes next. So that's obviously not the best way, because you get latency, because obviously you're rendering there, going through that's rendering again, putting it out. So then they came up with a thing called BIOS MUX. Now what that means is, currently on the laptop I've got it set to Optimus in the BIOS, which means that my display, my laptop display, is rendering out through the iGPU. There's nothing I can do with it. If I want it to render out through the RTX 3060 all the time, I have to go into the BIOS, switch it to discrete, And then basically the iGPU gets taken out of the circuit like hard. You can't see it anymore. And no matter where you go, sort of with the laptop's panel itself cannot see the iGPU. So everything it does, everything like that, which is great if you're playing games on your laptop panel. So then there's more an advanced version of this where you've got a dynamic MUX where you don't need to go into the BIOS to do it. You can actually do it through software. Now, this doesn't really work on Linux. So you can do it on the fly, and it's done with more expensive laptops. Medium and low range ones like this cheapo gaming one, not really going to be there. So, and it's really much a Windows thing. So there's the third part, which is interesting to us, and that's the direct port. Now, this is something that's built into a lot of gaming laptops, where one of the ports is directly wired to the DGPU. So when you've got the lid down, you can play your games. You know that they're actually rendering. You don't need to do the Optimus flipping around in the BIOS. You can just plug in the HDMI cable. Any game that's being played over that HDMI will get played, rendered on that on the DGPU. So yeah, so there's lots of ways to do this. Now, what the sort of basic set, the setup that this is in now, I've got the iGPU set up for the display for the laptop. So I'm in standard Optimus. And then I've got the HDMI port is the one which this displays on right here. That is the one that's connected to the discrete GPU. And now this is critical to get the GameScope element of this working. Because obviously you do not want, think about GameScope, think about Steam Deck. Steam Deck doesn't do Optimus offloading. Steam is just a device that switches from Plasma Desktop into its own games compositor, and that's it. And when we do it on a desktop, it does the same thing. It doesn't have extra screens. It doesn't do offloading. So that's not something we want to be involved in, really. Let me just put that back up to full screen. That's not something that's on the radar for Steam or for games, the deck mode, basically. So, okay, so to find out which ports are wired to which as a script, I did a little script that you can download. You can run it on your own machine, on your own laptop that's running Omarchy. Let's get that out of there. Let's get that. Oh, get out of that. So let's bring up a console. And it's called Detect DGPU, and it'll show you what I mean about what's connected to what on your machine. Because you may not have your discrete GPU connected to your HDMI, it may be connected to your display port. So let's just check CHMOD plus X, and then drag that, copy, and then paste it. Now I'll just run it. So it tells me I've got an NVIDIA 3060 in there, 3050, and an advanced AMD Hawk Point 1 revision 5, which is basically, I think it's a 780, and then it tells me NVIDIA DGPU, there it is, and it's connected to HDMI A1. So that is my direct connection. Now, that's the one that, the way it's done on cheaper gaming laptops, where you've got one of the ports, you've got the hardware MUX if you want to switch, and then you've got a hard port. Now, if you look on all the other connectors I've got, DP1 all the way down, eDP1 is connected, which is the panel, is connected to the iGPU. So if we were running games, we don't want to be on that at all. But the one we do want to do, we don't have A2. So you'd need to run that script to work it out. And at the bottom, I've even built this thing, summary, display connected to DGPU, HDMI A1. You see it here? Yeah. You're ready to use DGP1, DGPU only one. So basically, if you want to do this script, you want to run games, the deck mode, you need to make sure your monitor is connected to the thing that this tells you to connect to. Okay, so let's move this around. Is it that one? Hang on, how do I move it around? Is it that? Shift, move? I can't remember. It's one of these is to move it. I was getting messed up. I'll move that over there. Let's close that one down. Let's start up. That over there. So what we'll do, we'll install the script, and I'll talk you through parts of it. And remember, this is the installation on an iGPU setup, because when we switch over to MUX, because I'll go in, we'll restart this, I'll go into MUX, I'll switch the BIOS MUX on, and you see the difference of how it works. So anyway, so CHMOD plus X, and then in my download somewhere is my laptop deck mode script. And that's not going to do it because I'm not in console. C. Am I going to do it? B. No. Oh man, it's shift. So why does it change? Why can't it just all be Control C? Control C. It's non-standard, isn't it, on here? Deck mode. Now we'll run. Now, if you've seen the desktop version of this script install, you've seen this 1,000 times, but there are a few little bit extras in this. So it'll come down and it's going to say password, and then it'll start to pull everything down. Recommended upgrade to dependencies. And it'll go through and it'll look and it tells you the dependencies it needs for Steam. So we pull those down. Yep. So the thing is, with the DGPU thing, you can play games fine now. It just depends on what you want to do. If you always on the desktop and you don't move the laptop around, you've got it switched into MUX mode, so it's on DGPU, that's fine. I'm going to just show you both ways to do it. So install recommended packages, but there's just because obviously when the DGPU is seeing two displays. If you've got your laptop lid, your laptop open, there you are, and your other monitor, you have to choose a monitor you want to play on. But there's a clever feature built in as well. It sort of has a fallback. Come on, you can do it. So it's pulling in Proton GE now. Or Wi-Fi, it's not as fast as my normal networking here. So, and remember, if you've seen on the desktop version of this script, this is an NVIDIA card. So it's going to have to do a reboot because it's going to do the mod set thing at the end. You have to load the mod set so that it doesn't explode. All the same rules apply on the laptop as they do to the desktop with NVIDIA cards, where you have to have mod set. You can't go above 1440p in the menu. Here we go. Does its thing. Still going. I think in the previous video I said, oh, I better remove Mango Hub. We don't need it anymore. But you do. Because Steam's inbuilt one won't fire up in the mode I've got Steam Deck in. So basically, when I'm switching on the performance overlay, I'm actually firing up Mango Hub. I'd forgotten I've written that bit in. I thought I don't need that anymore, but you do. Anyway, so off we go. It should start to do all the bits it needs to. Proton tricks. We'll have to sit through this again on the MUX version, unfortunately, because what I've got to do is I've got to wipe the laptop, re-switch it, and it's such a bad laptop that basically it won't. If in Omarchy you can't get back into the BIOS with the F2 key, you have to put Windows back on it, pull the USB out halfway through the Windows install, so it slows down the loader or something. That's the only way I could figure out to do. Then you can get into F2, then you can switch the MUX switch on, then you can put Omarchy back on. It's ridiculous. Okay, add user inputs. Yeah, detect. There it is. Add NVIDIA DRM mod set equals 1. Yeah. Install missing packages. Yeah. Yeah. Passwordless. Yes. Shader cache. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And Chimera. I've also set it up, and I couldn't really force it on there, so I put it so that whenever it's running off the DGPU, it's on maximum performance on laptop. So when it comes out of the GameScope session, it should reset back to balanced, I think it is. But it was sort of like ticking along. I mean, it's a crummy GPU, that 3050, and I can only get like 35 watts out of it. Okay, so the script's finished and it says reboot now, so that's what we need to do, is reboot. And then when we come back, I can launch Steam and basically sign in and just show you it working. And yeah, you'll see it, because what it'll do, it ignores the iGPU completely. It doesn't even think it's there anymore. It just gets rid of it. The thing that absolutely has taken me 2 days, and I'm so embarrassed about it, the thing that took me 2 days to work out was when I got the lid closed, it worked perfectly with the lid open. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get the screen back. It would like come out, you'd do Shift R and it'd just be black screen. And it took me ages to figure it. It took me 2 days to figure it out, and I thought it was not, you know, you have to switch the BTs, so it's like TTY mode, you've got all these TTY, and it's switching the screens. I thought it was switching to the wrong place. I wrote so much code. The thing doubled inside looking for this thing, and it was really, really simple solution in the end. Basically what it was, the moment it switches to GameScope, it switches modes. So the moment the monitor switches modes, the laptop thinks that it doesn't have a monitor attached, so it goes to suspend mode. So the laptop was just going to suspend, because I could get the picture back, I lifted the lid. So what I had to build in, which, I mean, I can't believe I wasted 2 days of my life working this problem out, is the fact that when you press super shift, it switches off suspend mode, and then when you come out, it switches it back on again, and then everything worked. I literally tear my hair out. Anyway, it's on here now, so let's bring this up. Well, you have to put it back on the screen here. There we are, Steam. We'll do the login. But yeah, that took, I couldn't figure it out. That really blew my mind. It's interesting when you program with hardware as opposed to just writing programs for program's sake. When you're talking to hardware, it's a whole different ballgame, because things go on that you won't expect. I thought it was the timing, the monitor, because the monitor has to switch modes, so I thought it was switching on and off. I thought, oh, maybe I need to leave more time for it to pick up the fire up the SDDM session to come back again. No, it was literally the moment that it blinked off, the laptop went, oh, I've got nothing attached, I'm going to bed, switched itself off. And then when I lifted the lid, it would come back, because obviously you don't want to play, you know, if you've got this stuff as a home installation, you don't want to play this with your lid open on the time on your laptop. You want to just like stick it under the front of the thing, play your games. I mean, again, I think Bluetooth works, everything. You can literally stick this next to the TV, fire it up on the television, and you could, you know, turn it into a, I don't know, Xbox type thing. Portable Xbox. But yeah, so hang on, is this going to come up? There we are. Good. Okay, let's do the load. There we go. Let's that do its thing. I don't know why it's come up over there. Okay, and we're in. Now there's just one thing I've got to do here. Steam settings, downloads, switch off that one, do that, Steam, exit. And it is quite a weird thing, because when I press this, the sound, the bong from Steam comes up over there. So Super Shift S, switch to gaming mode, and it should. It takes a little bit longer on laptops than it does on a desktop to do this. It was this, literally it's disconnected, isn't it? There's no signal part. The laptop thinks it's nothing there. So obviously I had to be a bit more controlled on this, because I've got a much lower resolution card. Here we are. Much less, more powerful graphics card, so I'm waffling around here. Right, here we go. So Steam settings, display. Now, automatic set resolution, if I fire that, because it's NVIDIA, it will automatically default to that one. And then enable HDR, don't want that. Now, something I have noticed on this, and it only happened in Returnal, is I would set your maximum games resolution before you start to do anything. So I'm not going to play, because this is such a weak card, I'm going to play everything at 1920 by 1080. So that means when the game launches, it knows that's its maximum game resolution. It was really weird. Returnal launched at 1440p for some reason, and then when I switched it, it binned out. That's the only bit that's not worked properly. So let's just quickly come out of that, and then let's just do Arc Raiders. Accept. It's a slightly different quality level compared to my 5060 Ti or the 9060 XT. It's sort of like potato mode in outrageous, but it's very playable. Very playable. Oh, I should have done the overlays. Hey, we'll do that in a second to show you where the overlays are. But we're going to go through this all again with the MUX switch switched on. I don't know if you can hear this on the microphone. The fans have just ramped up. Here we go. Is that going to crash on me in the demo? That doesn't look good. I think we're okay. It's the first time of launching, so it might take a bit longer than usual. But I can't even get Doom to run on this card, because even on, yeah, well I can, but I have to set the resolution to like 800 by 700 or something to Doom Dark Ages. It's really, really, it's really not good for this machine. It's only got 6 gig of RAM, but this runs. Everything's a bit slower though. But as it's a 3000 series card, I don't have frame gen, so there's only DLSS. But I mean, it helps. But I wasn't going to drop a ton on an expensive gaming laptop. I just don't have the need for it. When I've got a couple of machines for desktops, here we go. Let's just have a look at the visual settings. Bit jerky. Okay, so let's go to Escape, Settings, Graphics. Borderless 1920 VSync is off. Upscaling resolution, CNN, because it's not even got the transformer model, it's so old. Static, it's picked up everything low. In-game performance overlay, let's see if we can get that on. Just simple, detailed. Let's just see what that looks like. And let's just do play, battlegrounds, confirm, and I'll just do a free loadout. Will it let me? Yes, just so I don't, if I get killed, it doesn't matter because I'm in the middle of all my quests. Let's give it a second so you can see how it then will come out. And then we'll jump on to the next part of this, which is installing it when you switch the MUX switch on. So yeah, so just to reiterate, this is now on the direct GPU port. It's ignoring the iGPU of the panel, and it's basically going straight out the DGPU. Now, not all laptops have this. So, you know, run that little script before you put this on your machine, and it'll tell you whether you can do this. If you don't have a direct out or you don't have a MUX mode, there's not much use. I mean, the other thing is, I mean, this is NVIDIA, and 92% of you have got NVIDIA. So I haven't tested this on any like a framework laptop that's got like an AMD mobile chip. It should work. The logic's the same. It should look for the DGPU, so it shouldn't be any different. The only thing that it won't do is the mod set. Here we go. What we got? Where's that? At the top there, I've got 60 frames a second. That does look. It doesn't look fantastic though. That's all I'll say. That doesn't look good. Yeah, I mean, it's playable. I mean, it's playable. I'm getting 60 frames a second. Except, there you go. Okay, and as usual, when this finishes, to come out of it, give it a second. It is calculating. It's so slow. So here we go. It's so weird having such a slow machine to work with. Not being like got lots of computers, but it's very interesting to see that people have to struggle with. Come on, close down. It will do it. Still going. No, it's doing that. Okay, that's right. So as usual with this, by the way, to go into your, you need to go over here then you can put your performance overlay on, advanced view, switch off, disable frame limit if you've got a faster monitor, and then basically off you go. That's where you want to switch the frame limit off. If some people have said, I can't find the frame limit, it's in there. So, and you'll know because it normally detects and goes up to the, like when it goes onto the panel, which I'll show you in a minute. I can't show you the panel, but when this runs on the panel, it runs at 120 hertz. Okay, so let's come out of that, and then it's Super Shift R shuts it down, and it should come back to that screen. But it does take a bit of time. This is where it has to hand off, restart the Wi-Fi, wake up the laptop. No, hang on, I can't remember. It's got to do so many things. It's whole, there it is. This whole set of procedures that it has to do to sort of come back to life again. That it was all about the order. So there you go. So that's the script running on a machine that's switched to Optimus. So it's running out the DGPU port, and that's that part of it. So what then? I'll take a break now. I've got to reset the entire machine, reinstall Omarchy again, and switch it back to MUX mode, which is when you literally, as you'll see from the installer, it'll ask me to make a choice as to which monitor I want to use, because the DGPU will then be split over two monitors. Anyway, so bear with me and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here we are back again. And now what I've done is I've switched on the MUX switch in the BIOS. So basically the panel and the external monitor is being driven by the 3050. So anyway, let's run the detection script and you'll sort of see what I mean. So that one and that one. I'm going to go into downloads, and there's my detect GPUs. So chmod plus X. Oh, don't want that. Copy. And then here we go. So now, if you look on here, can you see it on that? Yeah. So now it's detected that card 1, NVIDIA DGPU there, is connected to eDP1, which is the panel, and HDMI 1, which is basically this monitor. So now it's like a standard desktop scenario where you've got one card going to two displays. That's what it's doing. Again, it's still ignoring the iGPU. But so when you install, you have to make a decision. Where do you want to play your game? However, it's got a graceful fallback in it. As long as you select your external monitor the first time you do it, it'll play on that until you unhook the laptop. You take it away, and when it relaunches, it will launch on the panel. Because it can't find the monitor, it falls back. And then when you plug it back in again, it will relaunch where you asked it to. It's clever. So don't do it the other way around. So don't install it on the laptop panel, and it'll never work on this. So do you see what I'm saying? Do it on the big monitor first, your external first. Anyway, that waffle to one side. Let's just get rid of that. And we want to do that. And then we want to do that. Bring that back up. Let's run the script. chmod plus X. Downloads. That one. Copy. That. Yep. Then that. And it's the same thing again. Now, but there will be a decision process for you when you do this. Upgrade system. Install missing packages. Quite like that. I quite like the theme. I think it's called Citrus Synapse. They're great. The people who are making these themes are just fantastic. Some of them are brilliant. Some of them are so lurid and scary that they deserve their hats off, right? So, yep, put that on there. But yeah, so in this, at some point, it will ask me what monitor you want to use, because it will see the other monitor, even though the lid's shut on the laptop. It's a little bit slow, yeah. There was a bug one of their members spotted about the fact that when it used to come out, it used to switch off the Wi-Fi. And what basically happens is when you go into GameScope, because it's like its own, Linux is headless, so you've just launched GameScope, there's nothing else. So you have to load the network driver behind there. So you have to shut down the Hyperlands, the thing that Hyperland's using, start a network driver behind so it sees the internet. But it's fine, it was hardwired, that worked. But what I didn't write it in to restart it for Wi-Fi. So you'd Super Control R come out, and it hadn't restarted the Wi-Fi manager. So you come out, you'd have no Wi-Fi. I couldn't work out what's going on. But yeah, There was a tiny bug in the script. I didn't notice because I hadn't got a laptop. So yeah, so hopefully this will work now for everybody. But again, as I said, it's untested on AMD GPUs. It shouldn't matter if it's an Intel iGPU, because it doesn't look at the iGPU at all. It should, what it does, it sort of unbinds the GPU. It should, well, I don't know. It shouldn't matter on DGPU. I've not tested it, but it's something for people to have a play with. It's got detection in there to basically unbind from the I mean, I wrote it so that it looks for iGPUs and gets rid of them. We'll see when everybody comes back to me. Sorry, I mean, it is quite bad. The script now is 76 kilobytes, 79 kilobytes. When I couldn't figure out the thing with the lap, with the lid closing and the suspend state, the script had got to 200 kilobytes, had 100k of additional code because I couldn't figure out, I don't know what was, I was trying everything. It got so massive. I was making notes. I'm making comments on comments about what was changed. Input video, yeah. Add the mod set from video, yeah. Passwordless, and it should in a minute. Shader cache. There. So you'll get this bit, you can see it right down the bottom here. It's now saying the session setup is switching. Found NVIDIA on card 1. Multiple monitors connected to NVIDIA. 1, EDP1, which is the panel, or 2, which is this one. So I want to select 2. And then it's a normal installation after that. So I told it that its priority monitor is that monitor there. So we're doing this chimera going on there. Testing. Now I need to do a reboot. Reboot now. Do the whole thing. Yeah. So I have to be honest, this was the hardest. Like, I got the laptop on Saturday last week, and I thought, well, this will be easy, this will be fine. I just need to. I never realised how complicated, and it's such simple physical things like the laptop lid that threw me. And I was really having a tough time getting it to work, and it works perfectly on desktops. It's great. I mean, there's a little bit of an issue maybe with detecting high refresh rates and stuff like that because of NVIDIA. They go hand in hand. But it's just the mechanics of a laptop is so complicated. I mean, I've been on a Mac laptop for 20, 25, 22 years. So I never realised how complicated PC laptops are. I mean, with a Mac laptop, you just plug things in, but you don't play games with them. You'd always play games on a desktop. So gaming laptops, they were a whole new thing. And then I started to look into prime offload. I mean, I've done stuff like that before in post-production where you offload rendering onto different cards. But I mean, it's sort of like, this was a whole new thing for me with how it's done with gaming on a laptop. Can I come back up properly? There it is. It's a bit of a lag. I can see it on that monitor over there, but I can't see it on this desktop. There it is, popped in. Okay, so the script's on there, so we need to launch Steam. Do its thing. Interesting. But I think the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to put, after this video, I'm going to show you how to put, I mean, I don't want to do this. There's an interesting thing happening in the world at the moment where everybody's trying to get you not to own things. So like NVIDIA's making you, they don't want you to own games. They want you to license them. They want you to pay subscriptions. You sort of all know this. And there's one bastion place that doesn't want you to do this, is Valve. Is Steam. You own your games, and that's on their platform. But NVIDIA, you know, you basically do that rental with them, and their gaming is called GeForce Now. But some people have got games on GeForce Now, and you know, if you want to play certain games, let's say if you wanted to play Battlefield 6 on Linux, you cannot do it because of the kernel level cheat. However, if you've got it in your library, then you can play it on GeForce Now. So I think my next video will be how to install GeForce Now into GameScope, so you can play Battlefield 6, albeit by Battlefield 6, albeit by GeForce Now. But it gets around the kernel. Has that gone through? Yeah, it gets rid of the kernel level anti-cheat stuff. So you basically launch it to GameScope, and you can launch GeForce Now as an application. That's what I'm working on, and you can play it. Apparently today at CES, NVIDIA announced that it's becoming a Linux native app. Very clever. But what we really want is for the developers to stop putting kernel level anti-cheats on, so we can play all the games on Linux. But yeah, I mean, it's a big thing now about renting everything and not ever owning anything. So you're licensing the games off people, and you're licensing the hardware. Sorry, with NVIDIA, the system is licensing the hardware, not the games. You own the games already, but it's all about licensing their hardware, which is ridiculous. So settings, downloads, turn that off, get rid of that. My games drive's already connected, exit, and then it's Super Shift S, switch into GameScope. Do its thing. Well, I spotted it today. Yeah, they've announced the native Linux binary, but you can, if you do it, you can install it already, but you have to put Flatpak on. I mean, via Steam Deck. It's all a bit weird, but I'll go through it and we'll see if we can get it working. Here we go. Let's go into here, settings, display. There it is, same stuff. Take off HDR, big pink monitor, no signal. Come out of that. Now what I'll do is I'll put on the performance overlay so you can see that. So settings, put it on 3, advanced view, frame cap off. Let's jump into art raiders again. Accept. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the price of RAM and all these things, you're being driven away from ownership. It's very strange. I mean, I think the graphics cards is interesting and things like that. It's very interesting, by the way. Arc Raiders is an incredibly well-written game. I can't run Doom, and most games run like potatoes on that 3050, but Arc Raiders runs really well on really not that great spec stuff. It's just a great, well-written game. It's got great auto detection. I mean, I tried to fire up Borderlands on that thing, and it was still compiling shaders at some point in the morning, so I just gave up with it. But no, Arc Raiders is a really well-written game. So yeah, I think there's they don't want you to own your hardware anymore, and you've got it's a double-edged whammy, isn't it? You've got Microsoft trying to give you an agentic operating system. You've got NVIDIA not wanting you to own your hardware anymore. No one wants you to own anything, and they want AI on everything. So that's why Omarchy Linux and everything like that is a perfect. It's your highway off the road, isn't it? It's the way off the ejector seat thing. It's just get out of it, because then you've got control. You can put the AI on there that you want to use. You can play the games you want to use. You can use GameScope, all these kind of things. But I will show you how to do neat GeForce Now, because if you want to play Battlefield 6, it's pretty much the only way you can do it on Linux. Here we go. Now I've got the overlay on there. You can see there. See at the top they've got the overlay. That's actually Mango HUD. It's I started this so long ago, this project, I've forgotten I'd written it in. And you can actually see the GPU here at the top when it does it. 30 watts. I cannot get it above it. It's supposed to be able to take 85 watts, but because of the power envelope on the system, it won't go above 35. I think it goes up a little bit, but it won't go over. Right, let's just very quickly do this. Let's go to escape, settings, graphics, upscale. It's decided, I didn't change my resolution. Okay, let's just leave it. So let's just upscale resolution. Rendered resolution. Let's do that. Do less quality. Ultra performance. Balanced. Let's see what that does. I mean, it's 1440p. I shouldn't have done that, but not to worry. Okay, let's just play. try Blue Gates, confirmation, free loadout, ready up. There we go. Yeah, as I mentioned on the first time, I've forgotten I hadn't done it. On the first time round, it's best to set your setting at the beginning in Steam. As I mentioned, the only thing I had a problem with Returnal decided to just lose the plot when I switched over. For some reason, that's lost signal. I'm quite merrily watching the game here, but you can't see it. What's gone on there? Capture device. Let me just try and do a bit of triage here. Let's take that off. And let's go back. Okay, we're back. Not the right size, mind you. Whoa, hardware failure. Here we go. I'll have to check back. I don't know how much I've lost there. It's just... So that's not bad. I'm at 1440p and I've got 66 frames per second. Now this is interesting because I've not got it... that doesn't look too bad at all. 60 frames per second. That's 1440p upres. Yeah, oh, okay, look at in the distance detail. It's like gigantic blobs of foliage. Okay, that's enough. There we go. Sorry about that. It dropped out there. I don't know why. Let's exit. Do you want to exit? Yeah. Okay, so then I'll come out of this and we'll switch back to desktop and then I'll just finish off and talk to you. Jesus. Don't expect that. It's probably the weather. This was actually interesting to do the Super Shift R to get out of it, because what's basically happening is it thinks it's got two monitors, so it's a different detection logic between. I'll be interested to find out what people do with the Intel. You've got Intel iGPUs, because I can't test that. But it definitely works with the AMDs, but it should just ignore the iGPU. It's doing it in its own sweet time. There we go. And then Super Shift R shuts down Steam. And hopefully it just comes back. Is it going to do it? Takes a bit of time. There's like a graceful shutdown with this. There. It's a little bit longer. Anyway, okay, so there you go. Sorry about the dropout in the middle. I didn't spot that. I was too concentrated on arc rates. Anyway, let's go back to me. With a big, beautiful green sidelight. So there you go. So that was a bit of an epic odyssey to get that done. It should work on your laptops. As I said, it's not tested on Intel. It's on with AMDs. It's tested. You do need to use this. You need MUX to be able to pipe out. You need to get a DGPU connected to an external port. It just won't work because the Optimus Prime offload thing is actually broken, I believe, in Mesa, and it just doesn't work. So I couldn't get. I mean, I spent another 2 days trying to get that bit to work, because that would have been great, wouldn't it? If you could do the offload, but it just, Linux just doesn't want to know about it. Well, GameScope doesn't want to know about it. It's not so much Linux. So that's not working. So, as usual, the script is in the members section. Thank you so much for being a member, all that sort of business, and support me. Just give me a bit of the money towards getting the laptop. So thank you very much. The detection script will be in the comments below, the thing below. So give it a go and see if it'll run on your machine. And then join Game Membership, get in, get the script, and have a play on your laptop. And hopefully that's that project put to bed now. I think it works on everything. So what I need to do going forwards is just generate 2 solid scripts, which is basically a multi-monitor, high refresh rate desktop version, and then this I think is as good as it needs to be, and then a desktop version, and then at some point later on the year you can put them on Git and you can have a field day, but I don't know when I'll do that because there's other things. And I think the next thing I'll do is the GeForce Now, because I'm trying to do a complete thing of gaming on Linux, so you can do anything you want to. And there's also one last project I've got on my sleeve, which is an easy install dual boot of Omarchy in Windows 11, because it does happen. And I think I found a very simple way to do it. Anyway, as usual, thanks so much for watching. Bye.